to our honorable chief guests, respected teachers and fellow Protractors, and my dear students. I welcome you all to the prize distribution ceremony of Protract Club for Ecstasy 2013. Now I request Club Secretary Insia Javed and Club President Shubham Agarwal to kindly come on the dais. Now I call upon our chief guest, Mr. Dipen Ambalia, to come on dais, please. Today we have amongst us a famous and a well-known author of two bestseller books, Loser and In Their Shoes, and their upcoming book is To B.E or Not To B.E, which is related to all engineering students. Now I request Club President Protractor Shubham Agarwal to felicitate our chief guest of honor, Mr. Dipen Ambalia. Now I hand over the dais to our chief guest to address the gathering.
I request you all to come forward. Am I audible? Or do I need a mic? I am Dipen Ambalia. I stay in Kalyan. By qualification, I am an electrical engineer. How many electrical engineers here? And by profession, I have been in the IT industry for 8 years. And I quit my job 6 months ago to become a full-time writer and an entrepreneur. And till now, I've written 3 books. The first book is called as In Their Shoes. It was published in 2010. The second is called as Loser, that is Life of a Software Engineer. It's a satire on the IT world. The third book is called as To Be or Not To Be. It's a satire on the life of engineering students. So today I want to share my experience of becoming an author, my journey from a blogger to an author, the kind of mistakes that I've made, the approaches that I've taken to write these books. And I also want to touch upon a few things like the myths of becoming an author, the life cycle of the book, and how the book publishing industry works, etc. etc. So that will be followed by your questions, okay? So my journey as an author started with blogging. I had this senior of mine by the name Arun Rajamani. He was kind of an idol to me in school. So he used to write with ink pens, so I used to write with ink pens. He used to play table tennis, so I used to play table tennis. In fact, he was my idol. Okay? So I used to emulate him a lot. So in around 2006 or 7, he started writing blogs. I used to follow his blogs, I used to like his blogs. So one day I thought, if Arun is writing blogs, then there has to be something good about writing blogs. That's the reason why he is writing blogs. So I started writing blogs. So the very first blog that I wrote was 6 ways to fool your bosses. So by that time I already had 3-4 years of experience in the IT industry and I knew a few ways to fool the bosses. So I wrote that blog, 6 ways to fool your bosses, and I shared it with a few friends of mine and they all loved it. So I was like, okay, लिख भी सकते हैं. So I wrote a few blogs more and then after writing some 40-50 blogs, I thought of giving myself a creative challenge. Writing a blog of 2 pages is a simple thing, but writing a book of 200 pages is extremely difficult. So I thought of giving myself a creative challenge. So that was when I thought, okay, now I will try to write a book. So the very first writing venture of mine was called as 9 to hyphen, a software engineer's life. 9 because you enter the office at 9, and hyphen because you don't know when you leave the office. That's how the IT industry works. So I wrote some 60-70 pages, and because of some reason I had to give my laptop for formatting. So I took a backup in a pen drive. Little did I know that the pen drive was infected with a virus. So I lost the very first writing venture of mine. I was like very disappointed. 60-70 pages turned into zilch just because of some virus. So that was very disappointing for me. So I did not write for around 5-6 months. After that, in April 2009, I thought, okay, let me try to write one more book. So that was when I started writing a book called as Life of Genius of DY Patil. So it was a book about an ordinary fat Gujarati character. He falls in love with a girl who he meets on Orkut, etc. So I wrote some 70-80 pages and I shared it with a few friends of mine in office. And they all loved it very much. So I was like, great, if the end user, that is the readers, like my work, then the publisher should definitely love it. So hurriedly I made a book proposal. I did not know how to make a book proposal. So I googled something and made some rough book proposal. And I sent it to Rupa, Penguin, HarperCollins, Westland, every big publishing house, thinking that they will reply positively. In 2-3 months, I got a negative reply from everyone. So I was like, if the readers are liking it, then what is the problem with these publishers? And the worst thing is, these publishers never tell you why they are rejecting your work. They have a very standard answer that they just copy paste in every rejection and they send it to you. So I was again disheartened. So for maybe 2-3 months I did not write anything again. Then I thought, if I don't write a book, then the literary world is not going to miss me. I will not get that sense of satisfaction which I get now as an author. So I thought of writing another book. In Feb 2009, I had been to a wedding of one of my cousins in Gujarat. The wedding was very lavish, and in that wedding there was a drummer, and with that drummer was his 6 to 7-year-old daughter in a red colored frock. For me, the wedding was just a casual affair. I mean, I said weddings were moment we were at But for that little girl, the same situation was very different. My sister's sari, the decoration, the food arrangement, everything made us so happy. So I thought, the same situation is different for me and different for her. And that is when I thought, let me try to get into the shoes of that little girl and try to imagine the whole world around her. And that is when I got the concept of my very first book, that is In Their Shoes. So In Their Shoes is basically a collection of 17 very ordinary characters that we see everywhere around us, but we never get to observe their life. So there are characters like Sadhu Baba, Tantric, then the 77-year-old man thrown out of his own house, then a gatekeeper of an old age home. We see such people, but then we never get to observe their life. So that was my very first book. It was published in April 2010 by DK Publishers from Pune. See, you can write two kinds of books. I mean, that book actually did not get much commercial success as I expected. You can write two kinds of books. The first kind of a book is that you want to write. In that case, you will have to, you should not be thinking about commercial success in that case. So that is what I tried to do In Their Shoes. By In Their Shoes, I wanted to convey the message that life can be lived happily even with simple things. Like for example, the very first character, Vindhya, a drummer's daughter, she on her birthday, on her 7th birthday, she goes to a video parlor, she watches Govinda's movie and ends her day with a 5-wheel feet. And we crib about not having a BMW or a 3 BHK flat in here and Bangalore, etc. So the point is, I wrote that book because I wanted to write that book. Now the second type of book would be the kind of book that readers want to read and the publishers would be willing to publish that book. So that is mainly for from a commercial angle. So Loser, that is Life of a Software Engineer, was obviously belongs to that second category. So I kept in mind the software world, and then accordingly I wrote Loser, the Life of a Software Engineer. So the very first venture that I told you, 9 I again started writing from scratch, and I completed that book in around 3 months, and it got published in April 2012. So Loser is basically about Loser is a satire on the IT world. 10% of the IT industry enjoys their life. They go to US, Canada, Australia, etc. Click photos at the Grand Canyons, drive BMW, Mercedes, etc. But then 90% of the engineers, IT engineers, they stay in India. They travel 4 to 5 hours every day, and they never return on-site opportunity. I sadly belong to the 90% category. So I thought of highlighting the plight of this kind of engineers. So, okay. Have you heard of Spot Adams, Dilbert principle, Dilbert comic strip? Anyone? So he was my main inspiration. He is one of my most favorite authors, Spot Adams. He has written some 2-3 books which are awesome satires on marketing and management world. The Dilbert Principle, Joy at Work, and two others, I guess. So I thought, let me try to use that style of writing, satire style of writing, exaggeration and humor, and apply it to the IT world. So that is how I came up with Loser, Life of a Software Engineer. And I made a proposal and I sent it to Fingerprint, which is an imprint of Prakash Books, which is the second biggest distributor in India. And they loved it very much, and it is now a national bestseller. Now let me touch upon a few myths. Myths about becoming an author. I can't do because my English is not grammatically perfect. Now I will give you a sentence. Tell me whether it is grammatically perfect or not. Sachin Tendulkar is considered as the best batsman in India. Is it grammatically correct or not? Sachin Tendulkar is considered as the best batsman in India. How many say yes? Please raise your hands. Please raise your hands. How many say yes? You don't agree? This sentence is grammatically wrong. Considered to be, we use it as an e. As to be association में लगाना होता है. Sachin Tendulkar is considered the best batsman in India. So as an author, you need to focus on the sentence. Sachin Tendulkar is considered as the best batsman in India. That is okay. Now it's an editor's job to make sure that he removes that as. Okay. So editors in a publishing house have the responsibility of making sure that the sentence construction is proper. Grammatical mistakes don't appear in the final version. Okay. So don't stop yourself from writing a book just because you feel that your grammar is not perfect. In fact, my second book, Loser, 30% of it was rewritten by the editor, and that was mostly related to the sentence construction and grammatical mistakes done. And same applies to be or not to be. 30% of it was corrected by the editor. So the point is, don't stop yourself from writing a book just because you feel that your grammar is not perfect. Okay? I am not creative. That is one of the biggest hurdles. Okay, so till 2003, I passed out of VJTI in 2004. So till 2003, I was not at all creative. Okay? Not at all. So then I started reading books on creativity by Edward de Bono. Have you heard of Edward de Bono? Okay, if not, then you should go to the library and search his books. Edward de Bono is one of the gurus on creativity. So I read his books, Lateral Thinking, and he has done some 5 to 6 more books on creativity. You should diligently read those books and practice the exercises given in those books. And slowly and steadily you will find that your creativity is improving. I have experienced that, so I would recommend highly that you read Edward de Bono's books. Okay? My parents don't trust that I can write a book. This is also one of the common reasons. How many of you think that my mother is proud of me as an author and feels that I can write a book? How many of you feel? Sorry, you are wrong. My mother does not have even 0.0001% confidence in me that I can become a writer. She feels that people with BA or MA literature, or people like Dipen Ambalia or Ravi Subramanian, etc., who are MBAs from Ahmedabad, Bangalore, and Calcutta only can write a book. She feels that just a plain engineer, electrical engineer like me cannot write a book. So in that case, you need a lot of self-motivation. You need to tell yourself, you need to believe in yourself, you need to tell yourself that I will achieve the goal and someday prove others wrong. Out of 100 people, 95 people will, start very well and that, okay, you are right to write a book. But then 5% of the people will believe in you that you will someday with hard work and practice write a book. And you need to keep writing for those 5% of the people. And one day will come and the rest of the 95% will come and pat on your back. And then you will pause to say it. Like my own example, I started writing in 2008 and I got my first success in April 2012. In mid of 2012. So it took me 4.5 years of hard work, self-belief, self-motivation to see success. Okay? So it takes a lot of time, but if you have that self-belief and if you work hard and you have a discipline, then you can definitely achieve success. So that was the point, the world will laugh at me if I don't succeed. Don't care about the world. You are doing it for yourself. You owe it to yourself. If you don't succeed, at least you can be, happy that you at least tried. Trying is very, very important, and that is one of the difficult parts. Okay? And I don't know how things work in the book industry, so I'll be covering that in the next 2 slides. Okay, tips on how to improve your writing. Take a character and place it in different situations and write down how the character would react in those situations. Now revisit those scenes and flesh in more details. Share this draft with your friends and see if your imagination matches the description of your story. Now an example I will give. Let's say some water spills on the floor, okay? So we have to call a peon. A peon comes and he cleans up the mess. Then I smile at him and tell him to share a joke. So he looks at a few faces and then he gathers courage and shares a joke. You all laugh, you all appreciate the sense of humor. Then he goes home. He tells his wife about this incident. And then his wife also concurs and says that yes, you have got a good sense of humor. You should try writing, or you should try stand-up comedy, etc., etc. He becomes happy. He goes and shares that with a few friends of his. He takes those friends and goes to a bar, and there is orchestra playing in the bar, and it is very boring. So the customers start booing and they want the orchestra to stop playing. So now this guy gathers the courage, goes onto the stage and does some stand-up comedy. Everyone in the bar appreciates that. And then one Gujarati fat guy stands up and says, मैं तेरे को आगे चांस दूंगा. Okay? So this whole scene can become your first draft.
270 MB.
Now let us try to flesh in more details. I spill water on the floor. Then the peon comes. He first checks in that glass window. He knocks. He enters. He is wearing a blue colored shirt, a navy blue pant, and shining black shoes. Then he smiles and sees a few familiar faces. And then I say, "तुम्हारा नाम क्या है?" He says, "मेरा नाम है जादव." तो Mr. Jadhav, कुछ आप सुना पाओगे? Comedy, joke ऐसा कुछ? Then he shares a joke. We all laugh. We all appreciate. There's a smile on his face, and a pat on his back. And I say, "कुछ कर सकता है क्या? सही है, good है." He goes home. His wife is making chapatis and potato sabji, and he tells his wife about this incident, and she very lovingly serves and pours some extra ghee on the chapati and everything, and she tells him that मुझे लगता है कि आप seriously आप थोड़ा कुछ comedy वगैरह सब इतना करते हो अच्छा करता तो आप कुछ सोचो try करके देखो. He becomes happy. He goes and tells his few friends, to उसके neighbors वगैरह हैं जो भी. Then they say, "अरे party दे, चल तुमको party दे मेरे को बस हो गया." So they take him to a nearby bar, and there is this orchestra playing on. So you can describe the whole setup of a bar, and the singer is playing some songs of the 90s, early 90s, and then the crowd start booing, and they want the orchestra to stop. Then these friends of his tell him, "Jadhav, अभी तेरे को चांस है, अभी तू जा स्टेज पे और अपना कमाल दिखा." So Mr. Jadhav goes onto the stage and shares a joke. Everyone appreciates. So I would go to the love or teens or romance track and check out the books that are already there, and check out the publishers who have published those books. So those are the publishers that would be my target. So I would then need to go to the website of these publishers, and on the website there is a separate tab called as submit or submissions. Okay, so in that tab normally it's given what are the requirements the proposal are. So normally they ask for a synopsis, the first 3 chapters. That's it. Okay, so you should modify your book proposal according to their requirements, and then send it. If they ask for a hard copy, you print it and send it, or if they ask for a soft copy, mail them. Right? Now modify your book proposal according to the requirements and wait. It's a long wait. Publishers like Penguin, HarperCollins, they take 6 months to just reply to your first book proposal. So it's a long wait if you are targeting the biggest of publishers in India. Other publishers like Srishti, Fingerprint and all, they reply in 1 or 2 months. Okay. So if the editor loves your work and asks you to submit the whole manuscript. If the editor does not like your work, then you will get the same copy paste on a mail that we really appreciate you approaching us, blah blah blah. Then you should try another publishing house. So that is a common answer you'll get if your proposal is rejected. But if the editor loves your work, then he'll ask you to submit the whole manuscript. So you complete the whole book. In the book proposal only you need to mention by when you complete the whole book. So if you have written only 3-5 chapters, then write in the book proposal that will take at least 3-4 months to complete the whole book. And then I'll submit the whole manuscript if we decide to go further. Okay? So if the editor loves the whole manuscript that you submit, then you sign the contract with the publisher. The contract normally has the terms and conditions related to your payment. Normally you get a royalty that is 6 to 7% of the MRP. Okay? And it also tells you about when you will get the payment. Normally you get paid once a year. Some publishing houses pay you twice a year. That is 6 months. Then promote the book well and launch it in front of media and enjoy the lifestyle of author. Now, promotion of the book. My book, third book is To B.E or Not To B.E, TBNTB. It's a satire of the life of engineering students. Okay? So what I'm doing is, there are few very famous Facebook pages which have likes of around 3 lakhs, 5 lakhs, 6 lakh fans or likes. So I'm trying to promote my Facebook page, that is the book TBNTB, via their pages. So what I ask them to do is, I ask them to share my link on their wall, so that 1 lakh fans of theirs notice my work. Like I have tied up with 3 pages. The first page is called as Only Engineer Can Understand the Importance of Last Night Study. That has likes of around 6 lakh likes. Then there is a page called as Ye Engineering Hai Blue. It has around 3 lakh likes. And there is this page called as Aap Engineer Hai. So he is the admin of Aap Engineer Hai. So I have tried to do with him also. So I try to promote my work using these pages. So pick out the Facebook pages that are related to the theme of your book, and accordingly you'll be able to target your audience. Okay? And yeah, launch it in front of media and enjoy the type of author. So these are the contents of a book proposal. It's normally about the author, your resume, what you have written till now, your blogs or any amount related to writing, college or wherever, newspaper publications, etc. Then synopsis of the book. Synopsis of the book is a gist of the whole book. It should normally be a 1-pager. It should convey the whole story in just 1 page. Okay. Then testimonies from a few famous people. This is what I would highly recommend. If you have written the full book, then in that case, give a printout to famous authors, a few famous authors, a few famous people, and get their testimonials beforehand, before submitting your book proposal. That kind of creates a good impression on the editor. It tells the editor that you are well prepared and you know what is going on and what you are doing with that. Then why the publisher should publish this book? This has to be one of the very convincing arguments. Why the reader will buy the book? See, publishing is writing is a thing of passion, but then publishing is a good business. So you need to convince them why they should publish the book. What would be their benefit? What would be the sales of your book if they publish your book? Then why the reader will buy the book, how you will marketing thing I told you, and 3 chapters from the book. So this is this what constitutes not a book proposal. This is how the book industry works. You write the book, you send it to editor loves your book, you sign the contract. So now you are going to get published. Now the publisher has tie-up with distributors and the printers. So the publisher prints the book. So there are very famous printers like Booksons, Lekha, Replica, etc. etc. So these publishers print the books via these printers. I'm taking this example of rupees 150 and I've tried to give you the whole breakup. If it's a 250 pages book, then it normally costs you around 30-35 rupees to print one book. Okay. So publisher prints a book, so that is going to cost him 35 rupees, and he gives it to the distributor. Now these publishers do not give the books directly to Crossword, Flipkart, etc. They have to go via distributors. So distributors normally ask for a 50-55% discount on the MRP. So that comes to 45% for the publisher. So 45% of 150, that is 67.5. So the publisher sells the book to to the distributor for 67.5. Now the distributor sells this book to the retail market, that is Flipkart, Bookshop 80, Crossword, Landmark, every bookstore, adding his own profit to it. Let's say for around 75 to 100, and in case of this Crossword and all, they charge the whole MRP. In that case, the distributor might be charging a better margin, and then retail stores selling to you for 95 to 150 rupees. The author ultimately gets 5 to 6% of the MRP. This is how the industry works. That's it.